Alright team, in an effort to stay on top, I'm just launching right into another video. I just recorded the one from last week. Here we go. It should be mid-May now. I'm in Venice doing a bunch of work in the middle of the night, and I'm not going to have time to record anything for a couple weeks. So I'm here in Chicago now, and I'm going to get this started. So I'm going to do another walkthrough for you. This is a much larger project than the first one I did. You guys seem to really like the residential walkthrough I did. So this was a large 2-day shoot plus a scout in Wyoming. So this is the aerial view of the project. So really not on axis, right? Creek running through, groves of aspen trees, newly planted things. The garage is here. The main house, we have a sort of a southeast facing bar, a northwest facing bar, a largely north but slightly northwest facing bar of the house here. So we have a lot of different angles to work with. This was shot again in October. So, so sunrise was coming in at, let me get on my window here. Sunrise, we'll throw this on right. So sunrise was probably coming in, at this angle. We had the Tetons to deal with over here, so it was a bit delayed when it came really truly up over the mountains. And then sunset, conversely was probably, it may have been slightly further north than that. It might have been more like here. But yeah, so that's your sort of angles for daylight. North is, we can get a good view of the majority of the house looking straight north, which is going to come in handy for this shoot, and you're going to see why. But we'll launch right into the images here. So these images are not chronologically. Again, this is the way I delivered the set. So I always try to order the set in a way that you can kind of understand the exterior of the house in 360 degrees. So we should be sort of walking around it. Sometimes we do like dusk and dawns right next to each other, things like that. And then we, move in the door. We start to understand the spaces as they relate to one another. So, it's nice when looking at a project as a viewer, of taking it in for the first time, to not just see a detail of a bathroom and then an overall of a kitchen and then an exterior and then a drone view, things like that. So it's nice to kind of be led through. So when my client is looking at them for the first time, I want them to have that same experience. So here's the first view. This was a dawn shot we did the first day. We had scouted this project together and had dinner here with the client's client. Super wonderful, incredible person. So we had, targeted this location. So we got out here literally in the pitch darkness and set the camera up. We got somebody inside to light the whole space up, get all the blinds going. We did some of that the night before. So this was shot, very early twilight, well before sunrise. This was made on the first or second night. This was a labor of love. So this is a dusk shot combined with a northern lights shot. This was that October time when we had that really wonderful, solar activity, which gave us a high chance of northern lights. The problem is we had clouds. So we shot the dusk shot at 6 o'clock or 6:30, and I set the camera up in this field, and I stayed there at the house in the field with the camera, kind of moving back and forth between the house and the camera for 4 hours. The clouds parted. There you see there's clouds here, there's cloud here, there's some clouds passing through, clouds here, for 5 minutes. I only had like a 5-minute window. If the clouds had parted earlier, it was so incredible. You guys, to the north and primarily to the east, the clouds were glowing green and red. Like the aurora was so bright that the clouds were glowing with color. I wish it had been just a clear night. It would have just been fantastic, But I'm very happy with the shot we got with the northern lights in it. It's not something you get every day. So an uncommon shot, right? First dawn again. This was just as the sun was about to kiss the building. I was running around like a madman in this tall grass, trying to find relationships that worked out here. a lot of the work I do is the composition usually jumps out at me pretty quickly, and then it's just a lot of mitigating small relationship problems, right? I wanted to get this conifer off this corner but keep this one here, so it was a lot of me moving less left and right and more back and forth. I always try to respect where the building hits the ground, and I try to respect the corners on all four, or in this case 6 corners, whatever we see here, because ultimately we're shooting architecture, so the design intent is what we're trying to convey. So it's really important to not just, if it's a vignette or something, it's fine to let a piece of your building fall away, but in these overalls it's really important to respect all the edges of your frame. I think I did an exterior retouching tutorial on this shot, so you can go back to that if you like, but this was later in the morning on that first or second day. I can't really remember which day we shot this on, but that's me going up the stair from the field. They had some big stones to walk up and onto the kind of more landscaped walkway up here. So the light had just come over the Grand Teton and was shining down onto the house. So here you can see some of the Tetons in the background. This was a little later on in the morning. Or no, this was a little earlier still. This was before that other shot because the sun wasn't shining across the field yet. So now we're starting to understand, we've come around from the east to the west of the house. Now we're looking almost back due east, and we can start to see, here's the garage volume. We're starting to understand how this thing is kinked, right? We're understanding the relationship of the house to the garage. The story is starting to unfold. We didn't even know there was a garage for the first few images, right? And then it suddenly reveals itself here, right? So one of my favorite views is this. So I'm at an elevation here, right? I'm shooting straight into the right, like I'm right out here shooting straight into the south and west face of this house, looking northeast at dusk. Which image was that? 7, 6. There, yeah. So that's the primary bedroom, right? Just a lovely panoramic view of the house. Super happy with this. We didn't have enough glow to light this, so I had my friend who was assisting me. I had him run and set a big, juicy light, just punched right into this Corten steel. I don't even think it was an umbrella. I think I just had a direct light without a grid in it, a strobe. People have asked what strobes I use. I don't use Profoto. I use Paul C. Buff White Lightning X3200s, the biggest white lightnings they make. They're cheap. They're pretty durable. They last pretty well. They're good for what we do with them. They can, take a grid. They can take an umbrella. You don't have to monkey around with them. Plus, when they fall over, when your assistant pulls a cord over and smashes one on the ground, it's like, whatever, it's $400. It's not a big deal to just get a new one, They can be repaired, but they usually get knocked down in intensity to the next, kind of step. So they turn from like a 3200 to a 2400, which I like to have a lot of power in my strobes, because then I can use fewer of them. If I need to just like get a big soft glow, I can punch a big softbox, I can hang a cloth, whatever. We don't need to get into all this right now, but big heavy strobes, I like to have them because I can always turn them down, can't turn them up any further. So yes, I had a light lighting this side of the garage, and I was very happy with it. This image would have been much less compelling without that sort of lantern effect. I always like to have the building glowing and throwing light all over the landscape around it. So same view, different time. This was on another day, with the late in the morning, with the sun coming high enough over that we have this nice little diagonal shadow coming down onto the Corten steel in the garage. Corten, I keep referring to it, it's a steel that rusts like this and looks really beautiful and is very structurally sound and doesn't need much maintenance. So it's one of my favorite materials, and I love when architects use it. So vignette, not the best light, a little bit flat, but I did like the mountain range up top and the sky. Yeah, a little bit flat, but the image was strong, so we made it a tighter view of the primary bedroom. It was really difficult actually to shoot the primary bedroom, just because of the way it was laid out. So it was actually kind of fun to do this as sort of an overall of the primary bedroom. Plus, it gives you this. You start to understand this the slant of the the roof, the way it slides, slopes down like that, curve, is slanted, whatever you want to say. This was a fun little shot. I realized I was I was getting set up to make I was setting up to make a different shot, and I realized you could see the Grand Teton here, the famous peak of the range. So it was this fun little pocket that it sat in. So I made this vertical view just to give them options for layouts where we could put text in the sky, things like that. Here's a horizontal version of it. It's a little bit tighter. And it's nice to have that version as well. So dusk view, this one's got a lot of love. We had some folks out playing guitar and hanging out by the stove and drinking beers, and just seeing all the way through the house. Really a nice design, really a nice house. So big fan. Obviously this was a dusk view, made it pretty late. You can see the clouds setting in. This was the night of the Northern Lights. So now we have a couple of those drone views for more context, right? Showing kind of the property, showing the shape, things like that. Just a nice view in the aspens. Here's the straight overhead shot. Now you can see the little creek running through the tall thistles and things on the property. Always a helpful photograph for the architect to have a plan view, because they design things in plan, and they think about how this works, and I think it lives in their head sometimes as this. So it's nice to be able to deliver that to them so that they can continue to think about it that way. So now we're going back down to some somewhat tighter views here. Now that we've sort of finished up with the overall views, we're going to get into some more vignette sized views. So looking straight down that walkway we saw in the last shot, right? So the camera's here, someone's wheeling a bike into the garage, has a garage. You can see where you'd pull a car in here. And then off to the side, there's sort of an adventure room with the, fly fishing gear and mountain bikes and things like that. And then, so really a beautiful design. It allows for that sort of stuff to be stored, in the garage where it can stay dirty. And then roof deck here, really nice. So yeah, we wanted to be able to tell that story. Nice quality of light here. Twilight, not dusk, not sunset, So yeah, me walking by with a fly rod. I do know how to fly fish. One of my hobbies is fishing. Big salmon fisherman. Another vignette, homeowner and the architect walking out of the building here. We really tried to time this right, where the sun was in the morning punching through the entryway and back out the door here, and the side lights. That's what those windows are called next to the door, right? So it was really important for me to get this light that was actually penetrating the building there. So now we're stepping in, like I said, right? The last image on the exterior was basically the front door shot, and now this is the view when you step through the door, right? So you step in the door, this was where the light was coming through here, and then out the door behind me. So here we have just a nice view to the field, and then it gives us a view into the powder room to the right. So I did stick us 2 strobes. There's one bounced here into the ceiling corner, very tight. Probably had a 40-degree grid in it, which was lighting the walnut here. It was very dark in the image. And then in the bathroom we had I hung a white cloth on the wall so that the light wasn't inherently super pink from bouncing off this pink wallpaper. So I hung a white cloth on the wall, punched a strobe into it, which gave us this nice, nice shape on everything. Good edge lights on all of ours. This is just a JPEG, but very nice quality of light in there. So now we've turned the corner to the right, and we're looking into the living space, dining space, kitchen space. I waited until the light was exactly perpendicular to the to the length of the house for this shot. So you can see I wait until the shadows are basically are parallel to the top of the architecture. Looking back into the house, so there's the back to the entryway. So now, you know, our eyes know we came in the door, we turned right, we saw in. Now we're looking back, which anchors us here. We can see this birch bark wallpaper beyond the Core 10 entryway, which is going to come back again later. Another view of that without people. Dusk view in the kitchen, showing, you know, we lit the candles, we got a moody, we got everything going here. Similarly timed shot looking out into the fields with and without a person. Here's the bar and the fireplace looking back toward the primary and the office there, and the primary bathroom. The trick for fires, guys, since you want to have the smallest impact you can, is you set some logs in the fireplace, and then you crumple up a bunch of newspaper under it, light the newspaper, let the newspaper burn up through the logs, and then it burns down and goes out, and you can just take the logs away, basically. So you don't actually have to start a roaring fire. I've started a lot of fires on the beach in my life, and you really need a lot of wood burning to get a big tall flame like that, which is going to be not something you want to do in a homeowner's home ever, if possible. So I had a strobe tucked in behind this Core 10. There was a little shelving unit here that I stuck a strobe in, which gave me this like shape on my concrete. You can tell I have it right. You can see the shadow here, and this edge is kind of hot. I don't mind it. Kind of it did nice things to the walnut here as well, so I'm quite happy with that light, actually. Bar shot, just a detail. Again, you can see we're marching through the house, and now we're looking back toward the kitchen from the hallway. We were just looking down to photographs ago, right? Now that the camera's set up here, we're looking back through. Again, the walnut carries through the house. We got a live edge piece of walnut here. We did a lot of staging to get all this feeling right and in the same kind of tonal range as that we wanted. We don't have all sorts of different colors here. We switched, we flipped through a lot of these pages to find just the right one. I don't know that I did. I think I had a strobe beyond shining back, which gives us this nice glare angle on the walnut. Yeah. All right, with and without a person, and with the door closed as well, just so you can show that you can pocket door that whole space off. Primary bathroom, beautiful. I don't know what to tell you. I did have an umbrella on the left for the walnut here, and for the top of this. So we had light coming at us, and we had light, raking across this because this just had no shape. You can see there's a little shadow on the left and not on the right. Just a detail looking into the bathroom and into the shower. Pretty bad shot of the shower, but I really wish we could have stuck a person in here, as funny as that sounds. There's just, without a nude model, it doesn't make a lot of sense, unfortunately. But this goes like, this is like a 20-foot, it's so beautiful. It's just like this 20-foot high skylight to out the top of the roof. It was incredible. It's that middle volume of the house that we saw in the, what are we on, 28? Can we get back to the, no we can't. All right, anyways, you saw it already. Inside the primary, a little vignette that we did looking into the wall, looking back toward the Grand Teton. We did make an effort to show it, even though it's hard to see. It's still there. It does help. Doesn't hurt. So now we didn't make a different primary bedroom shot because we accepted the shot from the exterior as being our primary bedroom shot. So now we're down the way. We're down on the other side of the house, just sort of a hallway shot. These are the bedrooms, the guest bedrooms, if you want to call it that, the kids' bedrooms. Then we did a couple of photographs inside the bedrooms, a couple of these elevations, just so they could put a couple things side by side. The interior, designer could show the work that they did, the specifications and things like that. This is a shot I really wanted to make. I saw this Saarinen womb chair, one of my favorite pieces of furniture on the planet. So beautiful, this white tufted one. It's just so nice. So I wanted to wait until the light was raking it and gave it a very nice shape. Just the idea of sitting there and reading a book and looking out over that field is, who doesn't want to be there? Different version, green room, green chair, this chase lounge here that we have, or this lounge, I should say, looking back toward the mountain range is very nice. Vertical subway tile. Now we're in that green bathroom, green room, green bathroom. All right, now we're back in the entry, looking toward this sort of living lounge space with the birch bark wallpaper. We're getting into more details. This is something we didn't see yet, but it was in the around the entry area by the powder room. This like very nice little niche where they could display some of their things that they've collected on their travels. Powder room, we saw that in the entry. That might be it, guys. Is that the last shot? Oh, yes. Okay, so that was the last shot of the architecture. In the last video, I had pointed out that I like to do, when possible, I like to do some context stuff for the architect, right? So I will give them a couple of photographs of the landscape around the project. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. Generally, I just throw these in. I don't make the architect pay for it because it's just something I'm doing for fun, but it depends. So this is out on their property. This is game trails, right? So they have a lot of elk and things like that, moose, you name it, deer. And there were these beautiful game trails that could be seen from the drone from above, and the color palette is just so lovely. Just a shot looking into the sun, all this sort of beautiful scrubby, willows and things, and then a shot looking straight down into the different colors in the aspen trees. Just a lovely color palette. So that's it, guys. We're back to the beginning. One of my favorite projects of my career, probably, definitely of last year. It was just such a lovely space to be in, such a lovely team to spend time with, yeah, just a dream. This job is a dream. That's all I have to say. It's just the best job there is. I hope it was helpful. That's a full 2-day photo shoot there, dawn to dusk, both days. Well after dusk, actually, the other day. I can show you one other thing quick. So the friend who was with me on the shoot, you might know him. His name's Alex Noriega. He did a few photographs as well while we were at the house, and I'll just give you a quick preview of those. Similar, context things that we sent along to the architect. He also ran up the mountain when the Northern Lights were going and made a photograph of the Tetons and the Northern Lights. So pretty magical night there that we had there, but just some little. It wasn't like he didn't spend his whole day on these like he would normally on a landscape photograph, but just really nice to give these again to the less for the client in this case than the homeowner who just it's so nice to see your work seen through the eyes of another creative person. So that's it. That's all I got. Thank you. Yeah, I'll see you next time.